Okay, maybe we'll just start. Thanks all for joining, and thanks to Killian Casey for giving up the time to speak to us today about hyper-converged infrastructures from Dell EMC. And if you have any questions, you maybe save them to the end, and you can ask Killian then after the presentation. You should all have access to the presentation with the screen, otherwise it will be under handouts. There is a PDF attached that you can open up and look at the presentation there. So Killian, I'll hand over to you now. Thanks.
Thank you, Lisa. Good afternoon, guys. Just a quick introduction on myself. My name is Killian Casey. I'm one of the partner solutions engineers aligned to the Irish ecosystem. I also have Stephen Boyle, who's one of our senior storage and VxRail and hyper-converged architects. Really, the main, I suppose, course of today's action is to go through what the Dell EMC HCI portfolio looks like, with particular emphasis on VxRail, the appliance. So without further ado, I'll kick off. So, obviously, in the marketplace today, we've got a lot of momentum in relation to different storage offerings. From our perspective, we've got best of breed solutions, both from a primary storage perspective and from the new hyper-converged infrastructure trend. The way that we kind of talk to our customers is that we speak to our customers about their applications and their workloads. And what we really try and do is assist our customers in terms of modernizing their infrastructure and accelerating their IT and digital transformations. The VxRail appliance is one of those appliances that assist all of our customers in this particular area. Today's discussion points, what I'd like to do is to cover off a quick insight into industry and market trends, an overview of the VxRail appliance, why VxRail, and then a couple of slides of actually the nuts and bolts and what's inside VxRail, with particular emphasis on the software stack. Obviously, this is one of our, it's our fastest selling hyper-converged product. So with continuous innovation, both from hardware and from software, I want to touch on what's new and what's the latest components and software features within the VxRail appliance. And then to finish off, how Dell EMC can assist our customers in terms of winning in the marketplace. We've lots of resources, including, technical resources, reference architectures, but we also run things like VxRail boot camps, whereby any customer of Novosco's can attend one of these one-day facilitations, whereby they can get hands-on experience with the actual appliance itself. And then to conclude, a number of questions, and I will wrap it up. Both myself and Stephen can field those questions, so please feel free to ask any questions that you feel that need to be addressed. Okay, with that being said, let's move on to market trends. So what we're seeing today in the marketplace is that every customer, irrespective of the industry that we speak to, are involved in an IT transformation or a digital transformation. For me, both of these transformations go hand in hand. Like if we look at some of the latest advancements in the marketplace, so if we were to look at retail industry, for example, Macy's, the US department store, were the first ever global store to use artificial intelligence in the form of Alexa and Google, whereby potential shoppers can go into a store and use artificial intelligence and VR and augmented reality to assist with them, in terms of what they want to buy, and also, artificial intelligence is helping them with their decisions. If we look at something like life sciences, today, we've got the ICANN Hospital in New York, where they've got an artificial intelligence and machine learning system that has access to over 780,000 patient records throughout the US. From these patient records, this artificial intelligence computer can more or less detect 78 diseases. Those diseases range from cardiovascular, diseases right up into diabetes. And the amazing, I suppose, trend with this is that 92% success rate. So we're seeing, IT transformation, digital transformation penetrate every single niche, every single vertical. We're looking at digital DNA. If we look at manufacturing in Ireland, manufacturing is the second largest employer in Ireland. And that if we look at, what, the IDC and indeed the IDA have called out is that 45% of all manufacturing industries will be using 3D printing by 2025. So really, from my perspective, these are all inflection points that, I was really saying to our customers that IT transformation is with us today, and that our customers and our partners need to go on this journey. So from our perspective, our pillars of the IT transformation are based on 5 kind of key fundamental pillars. Flash, by using Flash, we're able to reduce, our customers' overall TCO and ROI. Cloud enabled, well, 80% of all IT services will be consumed by a hybrid cloud model, according to Gartner, by 2030. Scale out, so what we really believe in is giving our customers a scale out architecture whereby, they scale as you grow. And obviously, by doing so, you're able to mitigate fewer resources, and by doing so, you're protecting your investment. Obviously, software-defined data center is also a huge part of this, because we're trying to automate previously manual tasks, and we're trying to, I suppose, introduce a more leaner environment whereby our customers are using automation and provisioning of IT services and data services to allow them to be more efficient. And then finally, the whole wrap around this is trust. We're all very aware of the latest security threats. So security should be forefront of everybody's mind in terms of putting in any sort of data center refresh policy, or even if you're looking at modernizing your IT infrastructure stack, and indeed embracing digital transformation. So with that being said, let's move on to the next slide. So what's driving the interest? Well, from my perspective, IT managers and customers are looking for agility. They're looking to be able to respond to their business, both their internal business customers and their external customers, in a more efficient manner. Simplicity. Customers are trying to simplify their stacks and their software stacks, whereby they have data-driven insights, and also they're improving the automation cycle and the life cycle of that particular stack. Modernization. So from our perspective, cloud has to be a part of everybody's footprints, because there's going to be a stage where customers are going to be moving non-mission critical workloads to the cloud and embracing a hybrid cloud strategy, which will mean ultimately that a customer will have on-site IT infrastructure, as well as utilizing a public cloud provider for long-term storage or long-term archiving purposes. And scalability. The last thing that we want customers to do is to invest heavily in an infrastructure stack, only to realize that after 3 years' time that it's insufficient for their growth needs, and they can't really manage it because of poor performance levels. So from that perspective, these are all the kind of the drivers behind digital transformation and indeed IT transformation. So if we were to look at what the industry analysts and the thought leaders are saying, IDC have quite publicly said that hyper-converged infrastructure is the fastest growing market of all of the storage segments. We've also got a nice inflection point from Gartner, who currently are talking about 10% of all enterprise generated data is created and processed outside of the traditional data center. So that for me reinforces what we've just already discussed about hybrid cloud. So from our perspective, the experts and the industry is responding in a favorable manner to hyper-converged infrastructure. But us as Dell EMC and in conjunction with our partners, what we need to try and do is keep ahead of the curve. So what we try and do is we constantly upgrade not only our hardware but our software. On our hardware, we're talking about putting in higher network with less latency, faster NVMe cache drives, more memory, more efficiency when it comes to power and cooling and management. And then at the software layer, we're talking about embracing this whole hybrid cloud model, more advancements in data services, in machine learning and artificial intelligence. Because really, from our perspective, if we don't stay ahead of the curve, we can't really predict what the next future will bring. So how do we make this happen? Well, from our perspective, on this slide, there's some great examples of the value our hyper-converged infrastructure portfolio can offer to our customers. These range from our hyper-converged infrastructure appliances all the way up to our large-scale racks. So we were to touch on a few. So for example, on the far left-hand side of this slide, you see the vSAN ready nodes. These are nodes that are factory certified, whereby customers can build their own hyper-converged infrastructure by using standard 14G rack servers with VMware embedded and vSAN embedded from an engineering perspective. If we move over to the VxRail, which is what we're going to concentrate today's session on, this is the fastest growing hyper-converged infrastructure appliance worldwide. And really, it's the only HCI product that is co-engineered with VMware. So really what we're doing is we're building, an infrastructure stack from the ground up with VMware. It's also built on 14th generation Dell EMC PowerEdge servers. So from our perspective, what we're trying to do is, give our customers incredible flexibility in terms of configurations and indeed of management and operational tools. If we move over to VxRail software-defined data center, this is probably the easiest and the fastest way to stand up a software-defined data center. It really is the only complete VMware turnkey hyper-converged solution, and it's also co-designed with VMware. So not only is it engineered, manufactured from the ground up, but it's completely managed through the life cycle in terms of patch updates and stuff like that. If we move over to the right-hand side of the slide, here what we have is we've got a mixed hypervisor. So for customers that've got, VMware and indeed KVM and Microsoft, they can look at something like Nutanix or the XC series. Similar to the VxRail, they're appliance whereby you scale up. These are also based on our 14th generation PowerEdge servers, whereby we're trying to consolidate customers' environments down into a single platform that will have multi-hypervisor support. And then finally, if we look at VxRail Flex, what we really have in this stack is that it is the most flexible hyper-converged rack scale system in our portfolio. So also has the 14G generation servers and storage. And really what we're trying to give our customers visibility of is that, we're giving them a predictable rack whereby you've got traditional and cloud native applications running in the same infrastructure. If we move on to the next slide, we're talking here about VxRail innovation and momentum. If I'm really honest, VxRail is probably one of the most innovative products in our portfolio. It's been innovating at rapid space since we actually released the product. So for example, we released this, roughly speaking, in early 2016. And what we've done since then is added in increased capabilities in the suite of appliances. So things like inline deduplication, compression. We've also added in extra software features. So now that we've standardized on 14G, what we can also give our customers is a tremendous amount of flexibility on that platform. So from our perspective, we're continuously investing in this particular appliance, simply because our customers are looking for more configurations, looking for more flexibility, and more importantly, security and stretching their clusters have to be forefront of any decision that our customers will make. So why VxRail? So from my perspective, we spoke really about market insights. We spoke about digital transformation, IT transformation. I think to do the actual presentation justice, we need to talk about why VxRail as a choice for our customers. So from my perspective, the question I'm always asked is how can it help transform your infrastructure? Well, from my perspective, VxRail has the ability to dramatically lower any customer's OpEx and really force our customers to focus on things that make them more competitive in the marketplace. So VxRail really, what it kind of does is it creates certainty. What I mean by that is that it integrates with a pre-existing VMware ecosystem. So customers can either bring their own VMware licensing to the table, or they can purchase the appliance with the actual licenses included. We've also got included in that that creates certainty bucket. We've also got the management and operational tools. So any customers that have already used VMware, those skills are directly transferable into this appliance. If we look at predictability and how our customers evolve their infrastructure, well, what we say to our customers is, you start small and you scale out. So from our perspective, you're able to, configure your appliances, and they're already pre-tested and integrated for full VMware capability and functionality. And, what you can simply do is you can add in, additional nodes into your cluster when you need more performance or more capacity. And then finally, we're talking about innovation. From my perspective, because Dell EMC as a company are investing so heavily into this appliance, that allows you to continuously innovate by delivering, cutting edge technologies to your customers and your internal customers alike. So really what we're trying to do is drive the business value of any conversation, because, this is already pre-built, pre-engineered, and fully integrated with VMware. If we look at one or two of the marketing slides, we talk about that it's 73% faster to deploy. That was a recent study that was conducted by IDC in October 2017. If we look at, 46% lower cost of operations, well, how we're basing that figure is that, there's actually 200 fewer steps involved in deploying a VxRail appliance than building your own with vSAN ready nodes. From our perspective, we try and make it easy for our customers to consume this product, especially when it comes to firmware updates and software updates, because really what we do is we release these in one batch, whereby the customer can only has to do a couple of clicks to ensure that they have the latest and greatest firmware and patch management. And then finally, from my perspective, the big number that we always talk about is that it's, 619% 5-year return on investment. The reason for this is because, we are looking at an appliance that's purpose-built, that allows our customers to concentrate on other parts of the business that add value. And from our perspective, it accelerates their IT transformation. It allows them to seamlessly integrate their existing VMware estate into a new appliance. And, you've got one lifecycle support center to call. Everything is preloaded, pre-validated. And above all, we give our customers a lot of flexibility when it comes to the configuration of the appliance itself. Okay, so just to kind of touch on where we are, I know it's a busy slide, but just to try to put some, I suppose, context behind it. On the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see something called Bring Your Own. Well, these are vSAN ready nodes. So we give our customers the ability to bring their own software into this ecosystem. Our vSAN ready nodes, so what we have is in our portfolios, we've got these pre-validated designs, vSAN ready nodes based on 14G. So really, we're trying to take out all the pain it involves in standing up one of these actual infrastructures. When we move into the center, we're looking at the VxRail. So VxRail platform, this is where you're leveraging hyper-converged infrastructure appliances, where you can get faster results. Also, if we look what's actually inside the VxRail appliance, everything is powered by VMware and vSAN. So from our perspective, what we're trying to make our customers aware of is that whilst VxRail is extremely flexible and powerful, our customers can consume this in whatever fashion they so wish. So for example, VxRail it sets the standard, when we're trying to simplify and modernize your VMware environment. And more importantly, it gives a customer a starting point in terms of their IT transformation or digital transformation journey. When we move over to the right-hand side of the actual presentation, we're looking at things like VxRack, software-defined data center, and then we're looking at hybrid cloud in the form of whatever hybrid cloud platform you so wish to choose. So from our perspective, with the validated designs in VMware, we're also giving our customers a simpler path to this cloud-enabled infrastructure. So really, that's what that's how VxRail and vSAN fits into both our data center modernization path, private cloud, and public cloud. So if we move on to what's inside the VxRail. So, we spent some time setting the context. So let's get into the nuts and the bolts. So from my perspective, the VxRail is a purpose-built appliance, as we've already stated, with extreme integration with VMware. But really, for me, it is actually the software that makes this appliance so clever. So from my perspective, there's a couple of elements that need to be called out. First of all, you've got our software-defined strategy is powered by vSAN on the actual VxRail. Then what we have inside that is that we've got your integration with existing VMware estates. And obviously then we've got integration with vCenter. In the middle, I suppose, what we have is we've got the VxRail manager. This is your primary graphical user interface for managing your appliance. It's also, how the VxRail manager is also where you add in additional nodes and grow your cluster. So if we concentrate primarily on the left-hand side of this slide, we're talking about it's powered by vSAN, absolutely. So you have your vSAN Enterprise, you've got your vCenter, VMware Center, you've got vRealized Log Insight, and then you've got your vSphere ready licenses. The reason there's an asterisk on that is that you can import existing ELA licenses onto this box. In the middle, what we have is our management tools. So really what we're looking at here is your VxRail manager, which is the primary GUI you will use to manage this. And then obviously then you've got your secure remote support services on top of that. On the right-hand side of the slide, we're also giving our customers the ability to have data protection built into the actual appliance itself. So here we've got recover point for VMware, we've got vSphere replication, and we've also got vSphere data protection. So really for me, the cleverness and the intelligence is actually built into the actual software, which is then embedded onto our industry standard 14th generation server platform. So if we have a look at some of the flexibility, so obviously we've seen huge momentum and innovation in the marketplace, and as a result of that, what we're trying to do is, as a company, is to stay ahead of that curve by introducing better hardware and better software capabilities. So this slide will really concentrates on the configuration flexibility. So for example, we've got the latest and greatest Intel processors. They can scale all the way from 4 to 56 cores. In terms of our memory, we've got different memory configurations ranging all the way from 16 gig to 128 gig DIMMs. Our power supplies, depending on the appliance that you choose, that will more or less dictate which power supply you will actually utilize. Over on the right-hand side, we're talking about our storage. So not only do we have cache SSDs, but we've also got conventional hard drives, as well as NVMe cache drives. So for those customer workloads that really warrant additional horsepower, we have the option to configure your VxRail appliances using these NVMe cache drives. Then in terms of our networking, at a bare minimum, VxRail should be 10 gig. We've also just recently introduced the ability to go with 25 gig. So at 25 gig, what we're doing is we're supplying the customers with SFP 28 modules. So really what this networking, I suppose, protocol allows our customers to do is that, they can put in the SFP 28 modules today, and they can downgrade down to 10 gig. So when the customer is ready to make that leap into 25 gig land, they don't have to swap out any of the components or any of the network cards. It's just a matter of the actual cables itself. And then finally, on some of on one particular, I suppose, model, we have the ability to add in GPUs in the form of NVIDIA. So from our perspective, on our list today, we've got the Tesla M60 and we've got the Tesla M10. So really, we're giving our customers the best of breed and the best of flexibility in terms of configuration right across the VxRail portfolio. Speaking of which, at a quick glance, this is what our portfolio looks like. So the latest and greatest product in our portfolio is the G series. The G series comes in a 2U 4-node format. So for customers that are looking for that extra density in that 2U appliance, they'll get 4 nodes. Then we can move over to the E series. These are usually a 1U server. And they are kind of for entry-level customers that are looking to, I suppose, embrace hyper-converged infrastructure. The P series, these are our performance nodes, so they are optimized for highly performing workloads. So we can offer our customers single or dual processors, and it really allows our customers to have the greatest flexibilities. Moving into the V series is really optimized for VDI and for GPUs. So, there are a number of GPUs that are certified on our matrix. So if customers want to, use a VxRail appliance and also incorporate the usage of a GPU, they can do so with one of these appliances. And then finally, we've got the S series. The S series on the far right-hand side of the screen. These are really optimized for customers that need a large storage presence, and similar to the other products within the portfolio, they have a number of options in terms of networking, power supply units, and indeed configurations. So really what this graphic calls out is that, our customers start with what they need. So in other words, we're not asking our customers to buy more appliances than they actually warrant. So, we will carry out due diligence in conjunction with Novosco in terms of conducting live optics or MyTrend reports to minimize the risk to the customer. And then from our perspective, our customers then can scale out. Really, the bare minimum of starting out is 3 appliances, although I would probably say 4. And you can scale really from 3 to 64 nodes depending on your requirement. So, when your business, runs out of capacity, or when you need to add in another workload, or you've acquired another business, all you have to do is, use the VxRail manager interface to actually add in an additional node into your cluster. So we try and make it very, very easy for our customers to scale up and scale out depending on their infrastructure. So what's new in VxRail? So obviously we've standardized on the 14th generation Dell EMC server platform. And as you've probably read from the media, we've recently, achieved the #1 spot globally in terms of shipments and in revenue. So really what we've just done is we've extended our vast ecosystem to this appliance. So today we can offer our customers NVMe cache drives. So for customers that are looking for faster caching technology and for future-proofing their environment, they can use these NVMe drives. The M processors, so really what we can do now is we can offer our customers up to 3 terabytes of memory in a single appliance. The NVIDIA P40 GPUs, so really we've certified a number of Telsa GPUs to be certified on this appliance. So really we're giving our customers a lot more performance, and we're allowing our customers to have more VDI instances on the actual VxRail appliance. 25 gig technology, well, the industry has standardized and ratified 25 gig as the next standard. So what we have done is integrated this into an appliance so customers can future-proof their investment by deploying 25 gig, but also auto-negotiating down to 10 gig. And then finally, we're talking about security. So from our perspective, security, as I've already stated before, it has to be, forefront of everything that we do. So in this particular case with VxRail, we've got, hardened security configurations, and we've got automated scripts that accelerate deployment and the security of a VxRail infrastructure appliance. Okay, so on to the last number of slides. We're going to talk about VxRail positioning and where it fits in the marketplace, because that's really important. So from our perspective, we have in our infrastructure today, the fastest growing hyper-converged appliance globally. So from our perspective, what we say to customers when they're doing data center refreshes and they're trying to move away from traditional 3-2-1 deployments is that, don't just deploy a server, transform your infrastructure by embracing digital and IT transformation. From our perspective, if we look at, increasing the Dell EMC value. So from our perspective, we're able to give our customers, a full compensation of hardware and software all integrated into one appliance. And, you know, if we look at, you know, how we're winning and competing in the marketplace, you know, it is the only, you know, hyper-converged infrastructure appliance that is completely integrated with VMware from the ground up. So, you know, it's about really winning in the marketplace together, and by, you know, trying to change the norm, especially for those customers who are looking for change and moving away from traditional 3 to 1. So from our perspective, you know, what opportunities have we been most successful in? Well, from, you know, if I'm really honest, new mission critical workloads, because really, you know, rather than bulking up our customer's existing data center, which could be, you know, a 3-tier architecture, and, you know, it mightn't be performing as well as it could be in terms of latency or in terms of legacy architectures. What we try and say to our customers is, like, look at your mission critical workloads. You know, will your workloads benefit from a VxRail appliance in terms of being able to scale out more flexible and easily as your software stack grows and your performance grows. Server and storage refreshes. So really, if we look at what's happening in the marketplace, you know, a lot of customers are coming to our partner ecosystem and to Dell EMC because, you know, they have legacy, you know, outdated storage and server stacks, whereby, you know, they're difficult to manage, they're costly to manage, and really they're looking for an opportunity to modernize and automate and transform with a hyper-converged infrastructure strategy. Larger remote or regional offices, where really what we're really saying here is that, you know, because customers usually have a number of sites, we can give our customers VxRail appliance for their primary and DR side, but we can also give them a VxRail appliance for their branch and their remote office. So if we look really at where we are today, traditionally managing infrastructure resources like storage systems and remote sites was, to say the least, cumbersome and difficult. So what we're trying to do is give our customers the best of breed solutions by embracing hyper-converged systems that are easy, simple to manage, and more importantly, you know, we're allowing our customers to manage this by using IT generalists rather than expensive resources. Test and dev environments, where really, you know, customers, every customer that we speak to on a daily basis are you know, investing heavily in testing and development from an R&D perspective in terms of developing apps that give them greater access to their customers and their services. So we've seen this being fairly successful, where customers are looking to run multiple segregated infrastructure stacks for the purpose of testing code prior to deploying these into production. And then finally, hybrid cloud. So, you know, we've touched on the fact that hybrid cloud is the next big trend. So, you know, we need to keep in mind that in order to keep a customer's, you know, infrastructure agile and flexible, and have the ability to be able to move workloads from public cloud to private cloud, and as well as data protection, you know, this is a great way to get started, because, you know, it really does embrace everything from a hybrid cloud perspective. So a number of, you know, I get a lot of questions from my customers and my partners alike, asking me, you know, what workloads are appropriate for hyper-converged infrastructure. The common misconception or the myth in the marketplace that it's only suitable for one workload, which is VDI. However, as you can see from the slide itself, is that, you know, it supports a wide variety of not just traditional applications such as Exchange and SQL and Microsoft Dynamics, but also cloud native applications. The reason for that is that, you know, a hyper-converged solution has to support both sides of the fence. So you have to support your traditional business applications, as well as things like test and dev, you know, platform as a service, and indeed big data and analytics. So really what we're trying to do is give our customers, you know, a hyper-converged solution that allows them to be flexible both in the traditional world and in the new cloud native world. However, you know, I need to call out that, you know, some of, I suppose, where VxRail does not fit. So from our perspective, any customers that have got really large databases, whereby, you know, they they need huge resources and huge data storage, VxRail wouldn't be a good fit for that. Also for customers that have got huge scale out file deployments. So from our perspective, when we run an analysis such as Live Optics or indeed MyTrends, we'll have a look at the output. We'll speak to the customer about the application stack, and if the application and the workload is large scale file, well then what we will simply do is ask the customer to investigate Isilon, because Isilon is really the ideal storage platform for that large scale out file deployments. High performance clusters. So from my perspective, high performance clusters, if you've got customers or partners who are looking to run hyper-converged infrastructure on VxRail, this mightn't be the best fit, simply because if you look at parallel computing and really the fundamentals of that, you would need a large compute platform to do the ratios. And then finally, archiving. So really for long-term, file storage and cold storage, this wouldn't be a good fit, simply because it's not the most cost-effective utilization of anyone's budget. Finally, winning together. So, the reason that I suppose that, this hyper-converged infrastructure appliance is so popular is because really of the momentum is building in the marketplace, the wide amounts of applications it supports, and really it's the resources that Dell EMC and our partners have put behind the actual hyper-converged infrastructure stack. So from our perspective, we have these VxRail test drive initiatives that are run globally. They're run, out of the UK and in Ireland itself. So what we allow our customers to do is to come on site to a dedicated location where they will spend one day getting, a deep level technical overview of the actual VxRail appliance. They'll also have the ability to dial onto some demos, get their hands dirty in terms of configuring the actual VxRail deployment, installing bits and pieces, stretching your cluster, adding in nodes, and also we've also got the ability to use demo centers as well. So for anybody that's on the call who's interested in availing or attending one of these VxRail test drives, what I encourage you to do is to reach out to your contact in Navasco, and we will do our very best to accommodate that by providing suitable dates. We've also, as I've already mentioned, we've got an interactive demo. So on DellDemos.com, what we have there is we've got the VxRail appliance, whereby you can initiate a demo by playing with the actual configurations, by looking at the system dashboard, the healths, I suppose building out your cluster, and looking at it from a logical and physical perspective. We've also got the Dell EMC VLabs. So for customers that wants to have a little bit more hands-on experience, we give our customer this virtual environment that emulates 90% of a VxRail appliance's capability. So, this is an online customer demo, and similar to what I said before, if you're interested in attending one of these, let us know. We've also got the Solutions Demo Center. So we've got the Customer Solutions Center in Limerick, whereby we've got our storage architects and we've got pre-validated designs. So if you've got an interest in coming down to Limerick for a briefing, just let us know. And then obviously we've got proof of concept and evaluation units. So from our perspective, if you have already attended a demo, you've attended a solutions briefing center in Limerick, and you'd like to get an eval or a proof of concept conducted, let us know, and we'll do our very best to accommodate that particular request. Finally, to finish off the last slide, VxRail, it's a part of a future-proof loyalty program that Dell EMC have pioneered. Really what we're trying to give our customers really is investment protection. We're also trying to give our customers peace of mind. By doing so, we're giving our customers a 3-year satisfaction guarantee. So, if the appliance doesn't stand up to what we said it would, we'll do everything we possibly can within 3 years to make sure that this is fit for purpose. All-inclusive software, as I've mentioned before, not only do you have all the data protection suites such as Recovery Point for VM and vSphere replication, but you can also bring your software with you from an ELA. Hardware investment protection. This is where we're trying to protect our customers in investment over a period of time. And then finally, never worry migrations. So what we simply say to our customers here is that we will assist with your migration paths from whether that's be vSAN to VxRail. And also then we've got predictable support pricing. So we can accurately predict what the support pricing will be after 2, 3, or 5 years. So with that being said, guys, I would like to open it up for any questions, comments, or concerns you might have in relation to the presentation we just had a look at.
Thank you very much, Killian, for your time. That was great, and to Dell EMC, and thanks everyone for tuning in and listening. If you have any other questions, you can email marketing@novaschool.com, and I will also add this onto our YouTube channel so you can listen again or send out to other members of your team. But that's all from me. So thanks again for your time.
Thanks, guys. Nice afternoon.